Hi everybody, and welcome to On Scene with the Clark County Fire Department. I'm Scotty Allen. My guests today are Fire Chief Greg Cassell and Fire Chief John Steinbeck. Chief?
How you doing, Scott?
How are you guys?
Good to see you.
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Chief, for letting us invade your office here at Station 18.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming down.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you, and Chief Steinbeck, always a pleasure to see you as well. So Chief Cassell, I'm going to start with you, all right? From a 16-year-old kid at Mercy Ambulance to 30 years on the fire department, being the 10th fire chief of Clark County Fire, you have decided to hang up your helmet and retire.
I have, yes. February 6th will be my last day on Clark County Fire and retiring out as fire chief. So it's been a wonderful career. I couldn't have asked or scripted it any better than it's played out.
So with February 6th being your final day, and to be clear, we are taping this show, so by the time it airs on Channel 4, you might be lying on a beach somewhere with a drink and a little umbrella in your hand.
It would probably be more like rebuilding a bathroom, but I won't be at work.
Do you have a honey-do list already?
I have quite a honey-do list of things to catch up on at the house. I do, yeah.
Well, after a long career here with Clark County Fire, this must be bittersweet for you and your wife Gina and the kids.
It is. It is. You know, she was a little reluctant at first for me to actually take that step and retire, because she's not a big fan of change, and this is a significant change for the family. But she's really warmed up to it the last few months and sees the wear and tear that it's been the last 5 years, and she's ready.
So I was going to ask you, was it a hard decision or a family decision, or?
No, when I came in, I gave a 5-year window that I would participate, be fire chief, and that's right where I'm at. I'm at 5 years. That was a good guess, and so that's was pretty much the decision at the time, was stick to that 5-year plan and go retire.
And if we've talked about this before, you come from a Metro family. You were the only rebel that went out and became a firefighter.
Yes, a ton of law enforcement on my side of the house, and they've all done a wonderful job. They're all retired. I'm the last one still working for the next week, and you know, but I was the rebel, yeah.
So how's the whole Cassell gang feel about you retiring?
They're excited. We're all, you know, we've all missed a lot of time together over the years because of work schedules and so forth. So everybody's excited. Everybody's going to be retired, and we can you know, play golf and hang out a little bit more as a family.
Sure. So besides that honey-do list, what are your plans for retirement?
Well, I got kids in high school, so we're going to be tracking the kids along with their sports and theater and all that they do. You know, the work schedule hasn't been real conducive to catching a lot of that over the last several years. So I really look forward to watching my son finish out his senior year and play golf. I've missed a lot of that. And then get him off to college, and then we'll go from there. So just kind of catch up. Nice.
So what are you taking with you from this career?
Oh, about 2,000 friends, honestly. You know, the bond of the brotherhood of the fire service, sure, from everybody that was around here in 1989 when I came on till people that are hiring in right now. I mean, it's a great brotherhood, and you have a lot of friends, and you ever need anything, you can get help. You know, and then just a lot of fond memories. Yeah. You know, I can tell you right now that the two of us, we probably have the 3 most successful underground rescues ever in the history of the state. We did them together when we were captains on the heavy rescue. All victims trapped underground in tunnels or excavation collapses lived. And I know that that's something that him and I are very proud of, that not only did we get to go to those calls, we were captains together at that time, and all 3 of those rescues were highly successful.
That is so awesome. Yeah. So the 21 years that I spent here, that is the one thing that I do miss. I miss the people. I miss the guys and the gals and the camaraderie.
Yeah.
I'm still part of the family.
You are?
Obviously, because I'm still doing this show on Channel 4. But that will never go away, though. That's just amazing. So with that being said, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to our on-scene viewers the new and 11th fire chief of the Clark County Fire Department, Chief John Steinbeck. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
How's it feel? Has it sunk in yet?
It has. It's definitely sunk in. I'm excited. I'm really grateful that Greg had a plan to be able to have a little bit of shadow time and transition time, and that's working out very well.
Nice, very nice. Well, a little history on you, sir. So, Chief, you joined the fire department in 1990 as a firefighter. Then you promoted to fire engineer. Then you promoted to fire captain. Then you promoted to battalion chief. In 2014, you were promoted to deputy fire chief. That brought you up to the 3rd floor here at Station 18.
Yeah, so I actually work on the 2nd floor, so I'm the emergency manager. So I get to move stuff upstairs coming up, but I'm the emergency manager, so our operation is on the 2nd floor for Clark County, and next week I come up to the 3rd floor.
Well, second floor, you try harder, but here you are. So.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is so cool. Well, there's more. For a large portion of your career, you were part of the tech rescue team, as you just alluded to, where you were highly skilled in high-angle, confined space, swift water, trench rescue, vehicle and machinery extrication, and structural collapse.
It'll always be a passion of mine and Greg's as well. It's something we developed completely together, worked on that program valley-wide. We're still connected to the FEMA team here that goes nationally, so that's always going to be a big part of our careers.
And that leads me into my next question and comment about you. You've been with Nevada's FEMA Urban Search and Rescue Team since 1993. That took you to New York City after 9/11. It also took you to New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina.
It did. So it was an honor to go to both of those. And I'll tell you, Scott, that seeing those communities and that level of devastation really set the tone as I came up as emergency manager as how to prepare our community for a time when it was going to exceed our capacity. So those are valuable lessons that got to be brought back to here, not only for me, but for everybody that responded to that.
I would assume that being part of the FEMA team when you were deployed to Katrina, you probably saved a lot of lives.
We did. We definitely had some live rescues there. There was nothing like that community. It was very surreal. Everywhere we go is a little bit different, but that one felt almost apocalyptic in some way, in that you were in this great city that was completely empty except for people that were still trapped in their homes and responders, and we were just looking from house to house to house as to try to find the people that were still there. We definitely rescued quite a few people, and unfortunately we were there and saw what happens when you're there too late, and we removed a lot of bodies out of some homes too.
Yeah, very unfortunate with that. So you were also a FEMA instructor as well, correct?
Yes, so all of the disciplines that you just named for technical rescue, I also instructed those for our FEMA team, and still like to get out there once in a while, although as I move up, that's less and less.
So as the new fire chief, will you stay involved with FEMA?
I absolutely will, yes. I'll remain as a, well, first of all, we are the sponsoring agency, so Greg's had that responsibility as being the chief of the sponsoring agency for the FEMA team. And I will continue to, not only in that role, but I'll still keep my role as a task force leader as long as I'm with the department.
Sure. So the FEMA team is made up of a lot of firefighters from Clark County Fire, as well as some of the other local agencies here in town. There's a lot of extra training, and so I would imagine to be part of the FEMA team, that is a choice that you have to make. So what does it mean to you to have been a part of the FEMA team for so long?
Oh, it's an honor, you know. So I love the FEMA team, and the great thing is, just like on a lot of things that we've done here, Scott, it has an impact beyond just the team. So you build those relationships with the other departments that you just mentioned, with some of the other civilians that we bring in that fulfill some roles that fire's just not the right fit for. And the next thing you know, you're building capacity here locally and in other areas that go far beyond just the team's response. So like a lot of things, it bears a lot of fruit, and that's been one of my favorite parts of my job.
So if there's a deployment in the future as the fire chief, we probably can't be deployed anymore, but you'll keep tabs on what the team is doing, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a 0% chance that I will actually deploy as the fire chief, but I will continue to work with the team to make sure that they're ready to deploy.
Okay, also Chief, you chair the Las Vegas Urban and Security Initiative Working Group, and you co-chair the Nevada Homeland Security Working Group. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Homeland Security Working Group has been renamed. So after 1 October, we took several statewide committees and formed them into one called the Nevada Resiliency Committee. Okay, it answers directly to the Homeland Security Commission, which is chaired by the governor. And so I've been the co-chair of that and the working group that you just mentioned that it transformed into since 2014. And also what we call our Urban Area Working Group, which is the group that directs our UASI activities. So the Las Vegas area is a part of the Urban Area Strategic Initiative. It's been identified by DHS as a jurisdiction that deserves additional funding to respond to terrorist threats.
Okay. You're also part of a great organization here, Nevada Child Seekers. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Nevada Child Seekers has a singular mission, which is to protect children here in Nevada. I've been with them for, well, since the early 2000s, and it's just fantastic. So they do so much to assist not only runaway kids, but also to protect kids from being abducted and those that are certainly at risk. And I love that organization. Any of our viewers that can assist with Nevada Child Seekers, please take a look at the website. You can't spend your time anything more valuable. How could you spend your time better than going out as part of a search force and helping bring a child home that's lost to their parents?
Yeah.
And the great thing, Scott, is as part of this office, is we've been able to really take a look at how fire, and I sit on a board with the sheriff, and law enforcement can help that organization to be even more successful, and we've been able to bring home a lot of kids.
Nice, that's great. So going back to 1990 as a rookie firefighter, did you ever imagine that you'd be sitting here today as the fire chief of the Clark County Fire Department?
I don't think seriously, no. I was 19 years old at that time, Scott, as a rookie firefighter. I was just trying to imagine not getting my head torn off by the instructor at that point in time.
Sure.
And making it through our academy and doing the very best that I could and taking one role at a time. But this is an incredible honor.
Well, you know, I met Chief Cassell when he was about 16 years old at Mercy Ambulance back in the day. I think he had the plan to be fire chief one day.
I would definitely wanted to be on the fire department. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah. And you knew then you wanted to follow a career not only in the fire service, but you also wanted to be a paramedic.
Yes, paramedic was right on my first to-do list to help me become a more viable candidate to even get selected to the fire department. So as you know, I graduated paramedic school about 3 weeks before I started the fire academy.
Yeah. So Chief Steinbeck, you got some big shoes to fill, my friend.
I do. So I've already told Greg. So me and Greg, we were captains together at Technical Rescue. I think he might say some of the same things, but certainly one of the most rewarding times of my entire life was being a captain at that station. I wouldn't expect drastic changes on this department in the change of leadership. We've really had, we have a very similar philosophy, leadership styles, and so while I have big shoes to fill, I'm outfitting him with a satellite phone that I can reach him anywhere he's fishing.
Nice, yeah.
Right?
Nice.
It's got an off button though.
There you go, yeah.
I'm having the off button removed.
Yeah.
And so, his son Dylan will also probably get one just in case I can't reach him. But I joke about that. I want him to enjoy his retirement. But Greg's the kind of guy that if I have a question at some point in time,
24/7.
I'll give him a call and he'll answer. I joke about the sat phone, but he would definitely answer.
Yeah. So Chief Cassell, what are your thoughts about Chief Steinbeck coming in?
Well, as he just spoke to, we have been very similar in our thoughts and processes for many years. As a matter of fact, of all the people I've worked with in my career, he is the only person that from about 150 feet away, we could just look at each other at the scene of a fire or a collapse or something. We didn't even have to talk. We could just shake our heads, kind of go like this, and whoever was not in command was operationally engaged would go do it. And I've never had that connectivity with any other employee or any other partner throughout my entire career. So I'm excited about it. You know, John and I have been friends for an awful long time, and I know what his mindset is. He knows what my mindset is, and those paths are parallel. So I'm excited for the department. We've made a lot of changes. You know, in the last 5 years, we've reorged a lot of different things to kind of address the future. And you know, some of those things have worked, some of them didn't. So we stopped those things. You know, that's how you get better. If you throw an idea out there and it fails, then you stop it. You check it off the list of I tried that, didn't work, and you go to the next thing. And so we're at a point now where everything's clicking pretty good, and I know he's going to keep that right on track.
So here in Clark County, the sheriff is voted in to that position, but the fire chief is appointed. So to both of you, what was the process that you had to go through to become the fire chief? We'll start with you, Chief Cassell.
Well, I think our processes were very much the same. It was the application process, and then we went to a panel of internal and external customers, so people, department heads within the county, and then some, I remember from Metro and people from outside the county, sat on the original panel to interview us. And from there, they sent a list forward of, I think it was 3 people, and my recruitment went forward, 2 in John's. And we went to town hall presentations. So it was back-to-back days that we had the opportunity to give a kind of a prepared speech and then answer questions off the cuff from the crowd, from the men and women of the organization that were invited to attend those town halls. And then from there, we went to a meeting with the county manager, who then makes the final decision.
So, Chief Steinbeck, did they give you scenarios then, like maybe fire scenarios that you have to talk your way through, or?
Not fire scenarios. Once you reach this level, you should be very adept at the emergency scenes. They're much more policy and leadership type of scenarios and discussions, and it's great. It's a great process because it comes from all the different directions that Greg just spoke to, you know, you have to be able to communicate with everybody what your plan is, what your vision is for the department. They're looking for somebody that can lead the department and manage the department. Those are 2 separate skills that you have to be able to have if you're going to go ahead and take this position. I will say that not only from when I was selected and also when Greg was selected, there's a deep pool of talent on this department.
Sure. I know that you were not the only one that was up for this position.
No, absolutely. And so it's great to see. We do a good job of developing our talent. And right now, the cupboard's full. There's a lot of people that are in position to be the future leaders of our department, and that we're utilizing to get the things done that Greg mentioned earlier.
So obviously they're looking for the best candidate, and I think they made the right choice.
They made a very good choice.
Yeah, sure. So just going back a little bit, you said both of your careers were pretty much the same. I mean, you shared the same ranks, and you have a lot in common with your career, the love of tech rescue and everything. So Chief Steinbeck, working with Chief Cassell over the years, has that helped you prepared for this position?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. While we are very similar in a lot of our mindset, it's definitely been a force multiplier for both of us, I believe, throughout the time. I don't think, I certainly wouldn't be as successful in my current position without Greg, and I'm going to definitely benefit from working with him and the things that he's not only set forth, but we haven't always sat down every single time and thought this is the way something should go. Through discussion, we both become much wiser and figured it out together, but he's been a big influence.
Great. Chief Cassell, last time you were on this program, we ran out of time. We didn't get to discuss with you the Raiders coming to town. Yes. However, on the last show, Chief Blackman and Chief White, they did a great job explaining some of those details. But for both of you, as the fire chief, how do you take on such a big event with the Raiders coming to town, an NFL team? And Chief Cassell, it actually all started with you.
Well, yeah, we're excited about that. You know, it's an opportunity for the community to grow, have a whole other business venue here in town. It's going to be very busy over there, not just football games, but, you know, arena-sized concerts and events. So the Allegiant Stadium is going to be a force to be reckoned with as far as special events over the next few years. The Raiders executive staff, I was mentioning earlier, have just been absolutely phenomenal to work with. They've been great from the get-go, and that's coming from a Broncos fan. So you know, I have to embrace that. But they've never shunned me or shamed me for that, and they've been great to work with. I really have made some friends over there, people I really respect. I've made some phone calls over there. I needed a favor or two to handle some things with the organization, and they jumped right in and helped us out. So I'm very excited.
In the early meetings, then, was it like, what can you do for the Raiders, or what the Raiders can do for you, or it was kind of give and take type thing?
The Raiders came in with a really good community approach. They really did. They were very open to the police and fire, talking about some of the challenges that they have currently where they're at, and they were very impressed with the fact, and pretty much the whole country, as we talk and speak on any topic, they're all impressed of how tight we are with our police department. It's very rare for a fire department of this size and a police department of that size to have so many tentacles tied together for operations and special events and doing the things that we do. So they were very pleased at that because they know that they're going to have a very smooth operating platform for game days and all events.
So Chief Steinbeck, you're going to pick up the ball then, and see what I did there? You're going to pick up the ball then and run with it, with the Raiders being here.
Yes, absolutely. So like Greg said, we're very excited to have them here. We're going to do our preparation, make sure we have the proper resources there so that it is very successful. The Raiders and county management has been very supportive of that. Scott, you take a look at New Year's and what we all tackle here as a community for New Year's. You know, I can say pretty confidently that that goes on without significant incident. People have a good time here in Las Vegas.
Sure.
And so there's some things to take care of. But the reason that that night goes so smoothly is the amount of preparation and the amount of resources that we put into it. That's the challenge that we're going to have with these game days and some other events there, is that we have to do that same level of preparation and make sure we have the proper resources there, and then everybody can have a good time and it's going to be very successful and very safe.
Nice. So switching gears, another event that should never be forgotten, a little over 2 years ago, the tragic night of October 1st, the Route 91 Harvest Musical Festival shootings, where 59 people lost their life. Both of you responded to that incident. Chief Cassell, I know what that night meant to you, how it affected you and your department. And in the aftermath, Chief Steinbeck, I know that you were involved with the Family Assistance Center. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that very night, Scott, I can tell you that Greg and I both got the text right away that had happened. We saw that you know, a report of up to 20 people shot at the incident. We immediately got on the phone together as we were driving to see what was happening, hoping to see that this is de-escalating, right? It could report at 20. We'd had this in the past, right? Maybe it'll be 2 people or some sort of mistake. We could tell right away that wasn't the case. It was just escalating more and more and becoming more and more tragic. Very difficult for us to figure out exactly what was happening right away. I talked to Greg. He went to the scene, and I opened up our emergency operations center. Remained in command of that until that morning, in which case we transitioned over to the Family Assistance Center, where we could begin the recovery from that tragic incident. Serve not only the families of the deceased and make sure that those notifications were done properly, but also we wanted to make sure that it was our ultimate goal to assist in any way we could anybody that was affected from that. I mean, everybody, including yourself, knows that that was just a community-wide blow.
Absolutely.
We all felt that throughout all of Southern Nevada, and all of Nevada felt it.
It created such an emptiness throughout our community, but it really brought the community together as well.
We saw the worst in humanity, and we saw the best in humanity.
Absolutely.
We still do to this day. So we kept the Family Assistance Center open until October 20th. We transitioned over to the Vegas Strong Resiliency Center. The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is now really focused on outreach, but is still assisting those survivors and anybody affected from that incident still to this day. And I encourage our viewers to visit the website or the Facebook page, or to give them a call, and if they need any assistance.
Chief Cassell, I want to wrap up with you. We only have a few minutes left, but you and I have been friends since you were 16 years old. I want to personally thank you for your friendship over the years and your leadership of this fire department. So after 30 years, what was your best day?
Wow.
I know
that's a tough one, because there's been a lot of great days. The 3 underground rescues that I mentioned, I mean, we've fought a lot of fire over the years. We've done a lot of really wonderful things. We've rescued people from mine shafts. We've done some pretty I mean, the 2 of us have been blessed to be together at some of the most significant events in our career, and those days were great. I know that I remember talking to him after he was in Disneyland with the family after one of those underground rescues, and I remember talking to him. He says, "You can't wipe the smile off my face." It was like 3 days later. So there's been a lot of great days like that. I mean, but gosh, just so much. It's a big family. It's all the great family things that have happened.
We know as firefighters, we don't look for that thank you or pat on the back, right? It's just another day in the trenches, so to speak. Yeah. But there is some self-gratification when you actually work that hard and you end up saving a life.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I can think of many of those events that really paid off. The training, the teamwork, the communication, and the outright courageous activities, courageous actions of our people.
Sure. What are you most proud of?
The fact that I made it 30 years. I'm happy. I'm leaving on my terms. I'm healthy, and the department's in a good spot.
Yeah. So, any final words for your staff, your firefighters, or the residents of Clark County?
Well, for the staff, they've been absolutely wonderful. All the administrative staff, the men and women of the fire department as a whole, and the fire trucks and the ambulances, they don't understand the amount of work that goes on administratively to keep this place going. So, administrative staff has been absolutely awesome with the support of downtown human resources and finance and so forth. And the men and women that run our calls and do our work out in the streets every day, they're top shelf. Great paramedics, great firefighters, captains, battalion chiefs. They are very, very good at what they do. They're well trained, they're compassionate, they're empathetic, and they are phenomenal.
And I'm assuming, Chief Steinbeck, you can echo those words.
I can. I couldn't be taking over a better department. It's amazing. You talk about the men and women that provide that service, certainly the administrative staff, the support staff of the county, and our community partners. They're just unbelievable. There's a lot of efforts that go in if you're really going to help our citizens throughout their worst day, right? That's what we go ahead and we work on, and we're able to take care of their worst day. Yeah. The calls that Greg just spoke of, the reason why those are some of his best days in their mind as well, is those were individuals that were buried. Yeah. Those people don't come out alive very often. Sure. And because of the amount of training and preparation and work that we were able to put in, and the execution on that day, we let somebody go home to their family. Yeah. So you're never going to forget that. Well, so every one of our firefighters have a day like that. And so as a fire chief, my job and what his job has been, and all of our administrative job, is to put them in a position to succeed, to help those people out the best that they possibly can. If there's a way, if there's a possibility of saving them or making their day better, providing that care, then that's what they're there for, and I love it.
That's why you come to work every day, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right, they're telling me to wrap, guys, but congratulations to you, Chief Cassell, on your retirement. Congratulations to you being the new fire chief, the Clark County Fire Department, and going forward, Chief Steinbeck. Thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Scotty.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, that's all the time we have for On Scene with the Clark County Fire Department. If you'd like more information about Clark County Fire, you can go to www.clarkcountynv.gov. And we'll see you next time on Scene with the Clark County Fire Department.